Good evening, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Well, technically, we're not actually there. It's on video and it's being shown, but it is an honor to stand before such a committed group of people who are really passionate about making a difference in the lives of young adults who are aging out of the foster care system. We're here to talk about an investment in the hearts, minds, and futures of these young people. And that future starts with healing in the present. The foster care system is supposed to provide safety, shelter, and protection. And in many instances, it does. But what happens when the child ages out of that system when they turn 18? And then those supports are no longer there. For far too many of these young people, the challenges of adulthood are then compounded by unresolved trauma and profound grief. Every move to a new home, every separation from a parent or sibling, every goodbye is a loss, and those losses stack up. And then, without the right tools to process those losses, they don't just disappear, they linger on. They shape the beliefs and behaviors that these young people have. Even the most driven and determined young adult can find themselves trapped by the unhealed wounds of their past. And unfortunately, we often hear people say things like, well, why don't just move on? Or even worse, why haven't they gotten over it yet? But trauma doesn't work that way. It lives on in the body and mind. It influences decisions, relationships, even our self-worth. And then without healing, trauma becomes literally a constant companion, one that sabotages their progress and success.
And that is where we come in. Our work in grief recovery coaching is about offering a pathway to healing. It's not therapy. It's a step-by-step action program that helps individuals move from pain to peace. We help people identify the unresolved grief they are carrying, uncover the beliefs that have formed from their experiences, and find emotional completion through the grief recovery method. So imagine a young adult who has aged out of foster care and is offered a mentor, entrepreneurial coaching, and resources to build a future. And these are incredible gifts. But without addressing the unresolved grief beneath the surface, these resources will likely go unused or misused.
Yeah.
So instead, we often see patterns of fear that prevent progress: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of success. All of this leads to self sabotage. But when healing happens, everything changes. Confidence grows, relationships strengthen, and dreams become possible.
And we're not just talking about kind of, pie in the sky, wouldn't that be nice kind of a dreams. We're talking about actual real transformations in the lives of young people. There was a young man that I worked with a while back who at the time came out of divorce. There was a lot of abuse in his background of a pretty extreme nature. And he was battling with depression. He was struggling with suicidal thoughts. He had a fiance that he had just broken up with because their relationship was just dysfunctional at that time. He was working in a fast food place, which was far below what he was striving for. He wanted something much bigger than that, but that's where he kind of settled. And so this is the place that he kind of came into the grief recovery program. And in that process, in working through these
Mm.
relationships, what happened on the other side is I got a phone call. And he was telling me about how much everything had changed for him. He was now working a job that he had always wanted to be working in. He had actually not just reconnected with his fiance, but now they were planning a wedding. And then he said, and I would really love for you to stand in as my dad at my wedding. I would
Mm.
love for you to be there. And of course, I said, I would, it's the only place I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. I mean, that would be amazing to see that. And so this was something that I got to experience working with him, and then I got to see with my own eyes that day at his wedding, which was pretty amazing. It was just an incredible, almost surreal experience. So when we talk about things like dreams become possible, it's not just a cliche or a catchphrase or something we're putting on a bumper sticker. It's something that's a reality for these kids.
Yeah.
And this is ultimately what healing can look like. And this is what we want to offer every young adult who is bravely stepping into their future.
Yeah. So tonight, we are inviting you to see beyond the circumstances and into the possible futures of these young people. Your investment will provide them with the support they need to break free from the chains of unhealed trauma and step into their potential. Tonight, we are inviting you to look past the circumstances into the possibilities that await these people. Your commitment is more than just support. It's literally a bridge to help them move beyond unhealed trauma and into a life of impact, resilience, and potential. So, with your help, we can do something truly meaningful by combining grief recovery coaching with mentorship and entrepreneurial guidance. Together, we're not just helping these young people build successful careers, we're giving them the tools to build lives of resilience, of joy, and purpose. Because when we help them heal, we help them lead.
Yeah. So we just want to say thank you for believing in the power of healing and for being part of a movement that is actually changing lives. You know, Vicky and I we've known Rich and Gina for more than 30 years, and we just love them, and we are so excited to be working with them on their Trauma to Triumph program. We would be honored to answer any questions you have and share more about how we can work together to bring their vision to life. Thank you so much for your time.